Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Brianna Wade, the Volunteer and Staff Development Program Associate with Arkansas 4-H. Today we're going to be talking about 4-H club chartering. So to give you a little background on 4-H club chartering is a process that we have to do when a 4-H club forms. So the reason we do this is to make sure that we have our club in the system. So there's three forms we have to fill out, and I'll show you in just a minute. But we make sure that the club is functioning, it has proper leaders and officers, and that there are bylaws that the club can have standards with. Club chartering helps clubs establish some, I don't want to say authority, but it gives you the permissions to do a few things. So, first and foremost, it gives you the permission to use the name and emblem of 4-H. So when you charter your club, and it's signed off by the county 4-H professional, that gives you the authority to use the 4-H clover and the name of 4-H within your programs. So, for example, if you were to host a fundraiser, you could do that in the name of 4-H because your club is chartered and your program is approved by the county 4-H. Um, Compared to if a program was trying to raise funds, but they were not properly chartered and they were using the Clover in the name of raising funds for their programs, um, that could result in that program getting reprimanded and potentially losing those funds. So you want to make sure that your club is chartered to make sure that you have the authority to use the name and emblem to be able to do fundraisers on behalf of 4-H and to overall have programs that are approved and granted by the 4-H county professional. So we just want to make sure that we're protecting you and your official club. That way you can function freely and as you need under 4-H guidelines, and you're doing that in the appropriate manner. So there are three forms that a 4-H club charter has to fill out initially, and we're going to look at those today. So here I've just looked up the Arkansas 4-H website, and you can just Google that and it's going to pop up. Okay. So what I did is I went over here on this top green banner, I selected clubs, and it's going to bring you to this page. So we are going to scroll down, and I don't want to make anyone sick, so I'm doing it slowly. Under resources for 4-H clubs, there's this tab here that's under club chartering. So it's going to give you a little information again that what we just went over. And then there's going to be three forms. Okay. So the first one is called the PCT 14. In this form, you fill out when the club starts. So this is the very first form that you're going to have as a club. And we're going to open it here. So in this one, you're going to see, let's see, let me select here so you can see it. So in this form, you're going to see it's the request for an official 4-H unit. It's going to give you certification of your non-discrimination and permission to use the name and emblem. All right, so you're going to type in the name of your group. The EIN number is not applicable. And then you're going to type in what kind of group it is. So is it a regular club? Is it a special interest? Is it a leaders council, etc.? And then you're just going to type in some of the purposes of the group. So why are you doing this club? What's the benefit of it, etc.? So really this form is the form to say that you're going to have a program in a 4-H club that is eligible to all people regardless of these protected statuses, and then to certify that you are not a single family group. So a 4-H club cannot just consist of a single family, okay? It has to have multiple families in it and multiple youth. And then you're going to put the volunteer leader in charge of and they call it 4-H unit, but this would be the club or the program, right? And then you're going to get signatures. and you're going to get permission from the 4-H professional in your county office as well as the staff chair. So this is to verify that your staff chair and 4-H professional are aware that you are trying to create a new club and that they approve of it. Okay, so they're going to fill out this bottom part here. So you're going to fill out this top part with the information, and then they're going to put this bottom part in there. Now, this form, the 4-H professional is going to upload this to an internal UADA website. Okay, so this one you are going to send to them once it is completed, and then they send it to us. Once we receive this form, we're going to cross-reference it with the other two forms, and then once it's approved, we will put that certification letter inside your club in Z Suite. Okay, so let's go back to our web page. All right, so we have that. Secondly, your club has to have bylaws. So normally what we recommend is when your club meets for the first time or the second time, go ahead and let your youth know, hey, we have to agree on some bylaws for our club. Okay. So on our website, we do have bylaw examples. Okay. So we're going to go here and then I'm going to share that so that you can see. All right. So these are just examples. You can use this form itself if you would so prefer to do that, but you can change them, okay? So when you submit this in Z Suite, we are reviewing this for any changes, okay? So a few things to keep in mind is your name of the club, and then the membership. So if you have a club that you only want to be available for teen leaders, this is where you would change that. So this one is saying it's welcome to all youth that are minimum 5 years old. Okay, so this one's open to anyone, but you could put in here that you were just doing a certain age or topic. So this is where you would say, if you're having a healthy living club, you can say, youth that are in this club need to be enrolled in Z Suite with a healthy living project. So that's how you can do it. Again, you can edit these things. So how elections work, your duties of officers, your leaders and their duties, committees and duties, when your meetings are going to be, the meeting procedure. So if you are going to do all these things, you can keep it in there if you want. But if your club is really for a certain activity or project that you really need to get into in a certain time frame, you don't have to do all that. So two articles that you do need to keep within your bylaws is the club dissolution and the amendments. Okay. So these two things need to keep in here because within the university and within 4-H, we need to be able to say if we have to step in and dissolve a club, we have the authority to do that. Now, that's very few and far between that we've had to dissolve a club, but for those reasons, we do have to keep that in there. But for the most part, if there are issues or concerns with a club charter or a club in general, we like to give some steps on how to fix those concerns before we have to dissolve. Okay, so it's not like a one time you're going to be dissolved unless something of the nature that needs to happen takes place. And then the amendments need to stay in there as well. And then you just have signatures. So it's a pretty easy form. This one, review this with your club before you have them sign off on it. So this one does need to be reviewed and they all have to agree with it. Okay. Sweet. All right. So next, we're going to go back to our website page. And the last form that you're going to have to fill out is this charter form. Okay. So here we have just a general form for your information for the year. So this one you will need to update every year because obviously you're going to have different officers. You may have a different day and time you meet and all that good information. So similar to the first form, the PCT 14, you're going to put in the club name, what kind of club it is, the contact, the meeting, the officers, and then the requirements. So does this club have 6 or more members from at least 2 different families? And then is every 4-H member enrolled into at least one 4-H project? So this is a very important thing to keep in mind too, is that each and every 4-H member needs to be registered in Z Suite, which is our enrollment system. That way they're protected by us and they're protected under your club charter as well. So make sure that you highly encourage for any youth that are not in Z Suite that they get enrolled as soon as possible. All right. So now that you have these forms, where do they go? What's the process? So again, like I mentioned earlier, the PCT 14, you're going to fill that form out, the top part, and then you're going to go ahead and send that on to your 4-H professional. They're going to fill that out and send it to, they actually put it in a folder that we review. Okay. So these 2 other forms, the bylaws example and the charter form, are going to go in Z Suite. So as a 4-H leader, you do have the authority to look at your club documents and account on Z Suite. If you are unsure how to do that, or if you haven't been added to that before, reach out to your 4-H professional. So we're just going to go into Z Suite. You can see that I've already logged in. So on the left-hand side here, we're going to go to counties. And it's going to load. Sometimes Z Suite does take a little bit, so keep in mind. All right, so this has got all the counties on my end, but on your end, it's only going to show you your program specifically. All right, so we're going to go to example county because that's our example club. All right, so let's just say our fun club is the club that we are trying to charter right now. And on here, you can see the events, the volunteers, the members, etc. So up here in the right-hand corner is club documents. All right. So we're going to click view club documents. And there's no club documents. Oh, never mind. There is one. So we're going to say this is where we upload the example bylaws and then the yearly charter form. Okay, so we're just going to hit club upload, and keep in mind you can't do multiple documents in the same upload here. You have to do them individually. So we're going to say this is just a random document, but we're just going to stick it in there. So we'll just say PCT 14. That's not the form you're going to put in here, but actually let's just go to this. What is it called? Charter form. So let's just call this charter form. All right. All right, so it's in here. So on my end, once I see that your 4-H professional has uploaded that PCT form in the folder that we have and that they have access to, I go into Z Suite. I look at your charter form and I look at your bylaws and I make sure all 3 of those documents match. If there's anything missing on there or anything that we need, we will reach out to your 4-H professional and say, hey, we need this document or we need this form or whatever. And then they'll more than likely either fix it themselves and resend it, or they'll reach out to you and have you fix it as well. Some common things that we normally miss are if folks take out those 2 pieces of the articles and the bylaws, and if they forget to sign the forms. So just make sure that you're looking over them clearly. That way you can upload them and have no problems with it. All right, so once I have checked all 3 of those forms, I will upload a certificate into this section of Z Suite. So it'll be under your club downloads or uploads, and then it's just going to have a certificate that is approved by the state and also approved on the national level. So you will be official, not just in the state, but you'll be recognized at the national level as a 4-H chartered club. And then once you have that done, you'll just annually upload that one form. You don't have to re-upload any of those other forms. The exceptions for when you'd have to re-upload those other forms is if your bylaws change or if your club is inactive for a year. So if your club stops for a year and then starts back up, you will have to recharter that club. All right, and then obviously if it's a dissolved club or you decide to close the club, then the charter certificate is not applicable anymore, and you'll have to get a new charter with the new club. So a few things on that. If you have questions about that, please feel free to reach out to your 4-H professional. And then always, I'm here to answer questions as well. So again, those forms will go in Z Suite, and your club chartering information is under the clubs tab on the Arkansas 4-H website. That should be the forward process of club chartering, but again, reach out if you have questions, and happy club planning and starting. Thanks all.